quick roll call, and apologies to start with. Councillor Baird. I see you, but I presume I can see you're here. But can we hear you okay? Councillor Baird. I'll mark you as here anyway because I can see you.
Yeah, present.
You're there,
Yeah.
thanks. Councillor Gale.
I'm here.
Councillor Hutchison.
Yes, thanks.
Councillor McGilvray.
Here, Fiona, thank you.
I have apologies from Councillor Morrison, and I believe Councillor Niven is still not here yet, so hopefully she'll arrive. Members, are there any declarations of interest?
Can I come in there, Fiona? Item 9, Section 7. I'm a director of the Dornoch Area Community Interest Company, and also I attend steering group meetings for the Business Improvement District group. And I think, although it's not a personal financial interest, I would feel much more comfortable switching off my camera and mic and putting down my earphones.
Okay, then that's great. Thanks. I'll take a note of that. Members are advised these days, if you have any kind of a declaration of interest, whether it's financial or non-financial, to actually leave the meeting entirely, and that's what's in standing orders these days.
Yeah.
If you'd want to do that, and we can make sure we call you back in as soon as as that item's finished. It's just section 7 of item 9. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
I shall click my leave button in that case.
Okay, we'll make sure we get you back in before we carry on.
I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay then, thank you. So item 3, are there any nominations for the position of chair?
I would certainly like to nominate Councillor Richard Gale, who has experience and made an absolutely excellent job during the last term.
Okay. And is there a seconder for that?
Yes, I'll second them.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? No, there seems not. Well, Councillor Gale, I'll hand over to you then. Thank you.
Thank you, Fiona, and thank you, members, for your support. It's greatly appreciated. I'll do my very best to serve the interests of the entire Sutherland County for the next few years, and it's greatly appreciated that you're giving me that trust. So I really appreciate it. Thank you very, very much indeed. Okay, welcome Councillor Niven, who's now arrived with us, so that's good to see. Okay, members.
A place with a good signal in the house.
There's always room in the chamber for you, Leslie. Okay, members, we'll go on to. I'll have to jump between screens here for the agenda, but we're now on to item 4 of the agenda, which is the appointment of a vice chair. Can I have any nominations, please?
Chair, I would hope that Hugh Morrison would continue in that role, but he's not here to accept.
Okay, do you have a seconder for that?
I would second that.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, on the assumption that Councillor Morrison is willing to carry on as vice chair, or assume that the vice chair position, we will go on that basis, and if there's any change to that, then we can revisit it at the next county committee. Well, before I say that, is there any other nominations before we go any further? No, so that's carried in, and it's Councillor Morrison will be the vice chair. Okay, next on the agenda is member appointments. We have Caithness and North Southern Regeneration Partnership Advisory Board, and we need 1 member from the North West and Central Southern Ward. Do you have any nominations, please? You can feel free to nominate yourself if you wish.
Yeah, if you like, Richard, could do that.
You're nominating yourself, Michael?
Yes, yeah.
Well, we've only got one other person here, so that's Marianne. Would you like to second that, or are you nominating yourself as well? Because we can all vote for you. The vote goes across all of the members. Are you happy with?
I kind of think because I've been allocated that part of Ward 1 that it's something that I should offer to take on, but obviously I'm very new to all this, so I'm not entirely sure what the remit would be of that, although I have read, you know, as much as we've been given. Yeah, I would like to stand for that.
Okay, so we have 2 nominations, and do we have a seconder for either? And obviously against the other members.
I'll second Marianne.
The second, Marianne. Okay, seconder for Michael? Michael, you're struggling to get a seconder. Are you, do you wish to continue, or?
Well, if there's no seconder, I'll stick with what's gone already.
Right, well, that being the case, no other nominations, and Michael's withdrawn, then Marianne is appointed as the member for that particular committee. Thank you, members. Next one is the Doonry Stakeholders Group. Again, this is 1 member. I have to appoint 1 member. Now, it doesn't specifically say it's for the Northwestern for Ward 1. So I'm looking for nominations for the Doonry Stakeholders Group. Well, in the absence of any nominations, I'll nominate Michael. Do you have a seconder?
I'll second that, Chair.
Thank you. Any other nominations? No. Okay. In the absence of any other nominations, Michael is appointed as the Doonry Stakeholders Group member.
Okay.
I'm assuming you want that, Michael.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There's no arm twisting here.
No.
Caithness and North Sutherland Fund, 1 member from the North, West and Central Sutherland Ward. Again, looking for nominations.
Well, I don't know, can we nominate Hugh in his
Hugh.
absence? If we can do that, I would like to nominate Hugh.
And I would second.
Well, that's fine. I mean, again, we'll go on the assumption that Councillor Morrison is happy with that, and in the absence of any other nominations, then he is appointed to that group. Thank you, members.
Yeah.
I've lost my screen here. Hang on, bear with me. Jumping around. I have to say, I miss papers. When you're working with a screen and no papers, it's really quite difficult.
Yeah.
Okay, we're now looking at the Southern Local Access Forum and looking for nominations. We need 2 members to serve on the Local Access Forum.
Chair, I'm not already, so I'm just quite happy to continue if everybody else is quite content with that.
Well, I'm happy to second that, Jim.
Yeah.
So we're also looking for another member. Any nominations? Or, as I say, members, feel free to nominate yourselves if you've got particular interest in that area. Okay, right.
Leslie Ann, would you be interested in that? Councillor Niven?
Just as a side, meetings are usually held in Jamui, so I presume that either Teams or video conferencing will be available.
Councillor Niven, is that something you'd be interested in?
Go.
Have we lost you? Right, I think she seems to have dropped out here. Joys of technology, folks. Okay, I think we'll defer that one. We'll come back to that in a minute or two. Just look at that, how we're going to work that one. I'd like to make a motion at this point that we have resumed full meetings in the chamber. That makes life an awful lot easier and much more inclusive. So we'll come back to that later on in the meeting. Okay, now a nomination, 2 nominations for the Sutherland Sports Council, and Councillor McGilvery. I believe you're already on that, Jim. Is that correct?
I chair that already, and I just managed to get the grant for this year pulled down.
Oh, well done to you. So I'm happy. I'm happy to nominate you. Do you have a seconder?
Yeah, I'll second.
Thank you, Michael. We need 1 other member.
I'd like to nominate Marianne.
I'm happy to second. I'm happy to second that. Marianne, is
Thank
it
you.
something you're happy to do?
Yes, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed. In the absence of any other nominations, then you are duly appointed. Now, next committee is Trustees of Recreational Ground in Royal Borough of Dornoch. And committee is invited to appoint one member as a trustee of recreational ground in Royal Borough of Dornoch. Again, I would nominate Councillor McGilvery.
Second that.
Jim, is that something you'd be interested in doing? I think you are there already, aren't you?
I think I'm stuck with that one, Richard. I can't get out of that one.
Well, in the absence of any other nominations, then you are duly appointed to that role as well. Now, there's a couple here that we haven't discussed before because there was sitting members on it, and this is the East and Central Sutherland Citizens Advice Bureau. The committee is invited to appoint 2 members, one from each ward, to serve on the East and Central Sutherland Citizens Advice Bureau. And I would like to nominate Councillor Niven. I know that Councillor Niven is not with us at the moment, but I believe she has an interest in this particular role.
I would second that. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Hutchinson. Okay, we now need another nomination for the from the North and West to sit on that, because the East and Central Sutherland Citizens Advice Bureau covers both wards, or has an interest in both wards. So do I have a nomination from the North and West ward, please?
Marianne, would you like that?
Yeah, I'd be interested in doing that. Yeah, if nobody else wants to come forward for it.
Okay, well,
Unless it's something, is it something that Councillor Morrison has done before?
I believe it was Councillor Monroe that was on it. No, there was. We didn't have a member from the North and West on the East and Central Sutherland CAB, so as far as I'm aware. So Marianne, if you're interested.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. Yeah.
I'm happy to second that nomination. So in the absence of any other nominations, you are duly appointed. Now we have North West Sutherland Citizens Advice Bureau. So that's a bureau that meets in Kinlochbervie, or has an office in Kinlochbervie. So we need one member from the North and West.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was the one I was volunteering for. It would make more sense for me to be on the Northwest. Sorry, I didn't realise that you were. I thought you'd moved on to that one. Sorry.
No, we need 2 members for East and Central Sutherland CAB because it covers Ward 1 and a portion of Ward 1 and portion of Ward 4.
Well, sorry, I misunderstood that. I would prefer to take part in the Northwest Sutherland one.
Okay, right. So we still need another member for the East and Central Sutherland CAB from the North and West. So that is, so it's Marianne. You could sit on both, but you might find that rather busy. Or Michael.
Yeah.
Michael, would you be prepared to sit on that one?
Okay. Right.
I'm happy to nominate Michael for that.
Right. Okay.
Seconded.
Right.
Okay. So that's fine, and I'm happy to nominate Marianne for North West Sutherland CAB.
I'd second that.
Okay, so we have our members, 2 members for East and Central Sutherland CAB and 1 for Northwest Sutherland CAB. Okay, that's okay. It can be a bit confusing. Okay, members, that are all the appointments, and thank you very much for your cooperation. That was a little bit difficult, especially with Councillor Niven. Communications not working very well, and Councillor Morrison not being with us. Okay, so we're now moving on to item 6. We have the police area performance summary, and we are very fortunate in that we have Area Commander Chief Inspector Scott.
Chair.
Yes.
Interrupt, Chair. You've got Leslie Ann back again. You missed out on the Southern Local Access Forum.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes, we are. Thank you for reminding me, Councillor Beard. Leslie Ann, thanks very much for going back in. I'm presuming you are having communication problems. So if we just go back to the...
Sorry, my computer started to restart for some reason. I don't know why.
It always chooses the best time to do that, I find. And you don't have any choice because it'll just do it anyway.
Mm.
Okay, we were looking at members for the Sutherland Local Access Forum when you dropped out. Councillor Morrison has been appointed in his absence, and you were nominated by Councillor Hutchison. Is that something you'd be prepared to do?
Yeah, I'll do whatever anybody wants me to do. I'm just learning, so I'll do whatever.
Well, so there is a bit of a learning curve, but if you're happy to be nominated for that, I'm happy to second that nomination. So in the absence of any other nominees, then you are duly appointed to the Sutherland Local Access Forum.
Okay, thank you.
Chair, sorry to interrupt. Can I just check, because I've noted that it's that the second person that you nominated for that was Jim McGilvery.
Sorry, you're
absolutely
right.
Right,
You're absolutely
right. Okay.
My apologies. I'm jumping between screens here, so it's getting a wee bit confusing, if I'm perfectly honest. Anyway, that is all the appointments now duly made. So we'll move on to the item 6, which is the police area performance summary. And we are fortunate to have the Area Commander, Chief Inspector Scott MacDonald with us, and Inspector Chris Murray, who are going to present the report for us. I think you all have copies of the report in your papers. So I will hand over. Is it Scott or Chris that's going to lead the report?
Yeah, it's myself, thanks. Yeah, good morning, everybody. And thanks for having me along today. It's also my first time at the Area Committee presenting our performance for the 12 months leading up to the end of March of this year. So just about a wee bit of context around, everybody's obviously seen the report itself, so I'll run through some of the sort of the main stats after, but obviously the issue we have with the stats at the moment is COVID. A lot of things changed during the COVID pandemic, and it's made it quite difficult for ourselves to compare the last couple of years and to see where we're going with it. But in any case, we use statistics all the time. It's really important for me to make sure the resources are going to the right places and dealing with the right things. So we do put a lot of emphasis on the statistics that we have, and we have a whole team working in the background. We have various meetings that I go to, and then we use that information to prioritise our resources. So I'll move into the sort of the priority areas for us. The 6 priorities in the policing plan. The first one there, obviously, road safety and road crime. The road crime offences have increased by 4.7%. So that's 10.4 offences against the 5-year average. But compared to the year before, it's gone up by 16.7%, which is 33 offences against the last year to date. And within that, mobile telephone offences have increased by 66%, which is 1.6 more crimes against the 5-year average. And against the previous year, it's gone up by 300%, which was 3 more offences. Probably worthy of note here is that there's been a change in the legislation with respect to mobile phone use. So if you're using a mobile phone for anything, including changing music or anything, as opposed to just making calls, that's now included there. So expect those offences to probably increase, and we've got various operations in relation to mobile phone use on the go at any one time as well. In relation to insurance, failure to insure against third-party risk it's reduced by 33%, so 6.4 fewer offences against the 5-year average, and reduced by 18%, 3 fewer offences against the previous year. However, we probably expect that to increase. That's obviously reassuring to see that decrease, but I'd expect that to increase with the cost of living crisis, and people probably, prioritising their funds elsewhere. I might give these things a miss, which obviously we'll be looking at. In relation to road policing in general, obviously aware of the ongoing sort of issues that we face, particularly in Sutherland, with the increase in visitor numbers, and we closely liaison with North Coast 500, the North Highland Visitor Management Group that we attend, and we prioritise, we share information, we share leaflets during the period. We've also got priority patrols that we carry out. We're up around that area, the North Coast 500, most days of the week, and we have dedicated times throughout the year where road policing officers go up and they stay within the area and carry out that sort of enforcement activity. And Operation Cedar, as per the report, that's ongoing all the time as well. Moving on to antisocial behaviour, disorder and violence. We anticipated that following COVID, obviously during lockdown, that decreased, with licensed premises being curtailed in their activities, and people being able to go out and drink and enjoy themselves. And then we obviously always have the associated antisocial behaviour and assaults that follow. So, as anticipated, antisocial behaviour decreased by 12.7% against the 5-year average. However, it's increased on the previous year by 13.8%, which I say is to be anticipated. In relation to common assault, it increased by 6.7%, which is 3.2 more crimes against the 5-year average, and increased by 82%, so 23 more crimes in the year previous. And as I say, that as was anticipated and has gone back to sort of the normal levels of before COVID. What I'm pleased to say though is in relation to serious assault that we didn't have any in that 12-year period, and there's obviously the ones that caused the most concern when somebody gets seriously hurt. Moving on to accusative crime. The accusative crime was reduced by 5.4%, 3.6 fewer crimes against the 5-year average, and increased by 16.7%, 9 more crimes against the previous year. So within that, housebreaking is decreased by 61.5%, so 2.6 fewer crimes against the 5-year average, and increased 1 more crime against the previous year. It's still, we're fortunate within Sutherland, that remains a relatively low level of crime. We're fortunate to live in a nice part of the country. Fraud offences have increased by 111%, which is 10 more crimes against the 5-year average, and have increased by 18.8% against the previous year, which is 3 more crimes. During the sort of COVID period in particular, we've noticed quite an increase in online scamming and that type of fraud offences, plus people getting cold called. So every day we're coming in and we're seeing this type of incidents getting reported. And also the banking protocols seem to be working a lot better now as well, with banks reporting vulnerable people coming into the bank and trying to transfer money to scammers. So that remains an ongoing issue for us, the sort of the fraud activity, and we're putting out messages constantly online and in other sources of media to try and counteract that and raise people's awareness of that type of crime. Protecting vulnerable people. Sexual crime has increased by 114% on the 5-year average, was 32 more crimes, and 114% on the previous year, which was 32 more crimes. What I would say to provide some reassurance in respect to that is that that more or less relates to one incident where it's actually the suspect lives within our area, and the possible victims, it's an online type of case, and the victims are online and they're very distributed throughout the country and other parts of the world. So I'll give a wee bit of context on that. When you take that figure off, it actually, our figures are pretty much like for like year on year. And that relates to a type of like sort of Murov incidents where we pool different victims together and we report the suspect for the one incident. So it's just unfortunate that he lives within our area. In relation to hate crime, they're increased by 25%, 0.8 more crimes against the 5-year average, and it was 2 crimes against the previous year to date. So the 2 that are there, again, to provide context, that related to emails. It was to one victim, and the emails, it was in relation to a political party candidate who received emails. So that provides, we only have the 2, so again, relatively low levels of hate crime within our area. Domestic related offences, they've increased by 55.8%, which is 17 more crimes against the 5-year average, and increased by 37%, 13 more crimes against the previous year. Again, we've got our domestic abuse investigation unit now based in Inverness, but they cover the whole of the North Highland, obviously, and they do a lot of work now in the background. Whenever we get domestics that previously would have been wouldn't be able to detect, wouldn't be able to report because we didn't have enough evidence, they now carry a lot of exhaustive work in the background, identifying other potential partners and victims of that perpetrator, looking to get that evidence, and again using like Murov opportunities. So we have a lot more success with them. And on the back of that, I think there's a lot more victims now have the confidence in the police. There's a lot more people coming forward and reporting that type of offences, which is really good. And that goes like for sexual crime as well as the domestic crime. We're having a lot more success with that now, and it's a lot happier with the way we carry out that inquiries. In relation to, again, the protect vulnerable people, missing people, there's been you'll see there's a big increase in that in the report. That kind of quieting down a bit during COVID. Again, with people not being able to go out, we looked after children. So looked after children is a large percentage of our missing persons. We've ongoing work with the various establishments to try and prevent that. But unfortunately, we do have a lot of repeat children that go missing. We've got certain individuals who go missing almost on a daily basis. It does present real resourcing challenges for ourselves across the piece. You know, we've got with various missing children in each of the areas that I cover, and there's one or two particular ones that always go missing. Unfortunately, we always find them. In relation to long-term mispers, we've still got two long-term mispers, Finn Creaney from Tane and Glenn Smith from Cambridge, unfortunately. So they both involved really resource-intensive inquiries, a lot of work, a lot of searching. Kind of exhausted the main part of that now, but searches are still ongoing with various teams during their practices and things. They're all still looking for them, and we have had family members back up still looking for them as well. Going into serious and organised crime, for the last year, offence in relation to supply of drugs have decreased by 70%, so 2.4 fewer crimes, and against the 5-year average have decreased by 83%, which is 5 fewer crimes. Which I would say is that drugs remain everywhere, and you know, and we are constantly looking at that. And in Sutherland, we have the same problems as everywhere else. We can't be naive to that fact. So we do carry out intelligence-enforced searches of people and addresses when we get that intelligence, but we do rely on the public to give us that information. So yeah, we can only act on the information that we've got, and as I say, we really rely on that. So in relation to that type of activity, we have our community investigation unit based in Inverness, and we've had an uplift into that team to make them bigger, and they're basically proactively targeting the drug suppliers, and they're looking at the various types of activity in relation to drug dealing, in particular around sort of county lines activity, which we're becoming susceptible. So that's moved its way from Inverness, Rothschild area. Not really got an issue in Sutherland as yet, but again, I wouldn't be complacent about that, and we'll take it as it comes as well. But that's good that team got an uplift, because they do a lot of good work and try and prevent that from coming our way, hopefully. In relation to counter-terrorism and domestic extremism, there's obviously the comments there from PC Lisa Campbell. She's our counter-terrorism liaison officer, and so she's available. She can give any sorts of advice. She goes out to all local communities and groups and carries out really good training activities in relation to the prevent strategy. She does RAP training, which is workshops to raise awareness of prevent, and that's obviously about identifying potential vulnerable individuals in our communities who may be susceptible to extremist or terrorist ideology. So she's done a lot of good work around that. A lot of organisations have been covered already, but if there's any that you know, then you can just let me know, and we can get that further inputs organised from that. That's pretty much in a nutshell, you know, just a sort of an overview of the report. But if there's anything anybody wants to ask, Chris is in the meeting today as well as the area inspector, so hopefully we'll be able to answer any of your questions between the two of us. And if there's any further issues that you want to raise, then by all means do so, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Scott. It's a really interesting and detailed report, and I'd just like to record my thanks to yourself and your colleagues for all the good work you do in keeping this area safe. It's greatly appreciated, and I understand that the challenges that presents for you. So thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Couple of questions from myself first of all before I open it to the other members. The drink and drugs driving offences. Can you give us a breakdown? Is it predominantly drink, or is drugs increasing in over time for these offences?
There is, so you've still got the drink driving, so people are still taking the risk of drink driving, which is incredible in this day and age, putting themselves and others at risk. But we've seen an increase now because we've got the drug wipe tests for the vehicles, for the steering wheels. So we've seen a big increase in the amount of drug detections that we're getting from that. So drug driving has increased quite a bit, but that's probably on the back of the fact we now have the capability to detect it.
And is it drink or drugs as the predominant factor?
I would say there's a bit of both, Chris. I don't know if Chris is used to being in the policing. He'll probably be able to give you a bit of context on that as well.
Yeah, drugs is higher. Section 5A drugs offences are higher than drink offences now, and that's predominantly because we test the drivers for cocaine and cannabis, and it can be within the system for some time, you know. So that the drug wipes that they give a mouth swab for at the roadside, and we now have detectable limits for that. So that's all quite new, and it's all quite it's been rolled out in the last couple of years, and certainly my time in policing. But a significant amount of work goes into that, and it also goes off the lab for testing to get against those limits. But we're seeing a lot of that drug wipes. I would say far outweighs the drink at the moment, but there is still drink driving as well.
Thanks for that. Of course, kind of leads on to another question in my mind is maybe I missed it, but in the report I didn't notice anything about drugs possession as opposed to drug supply. I noticed you covered organised crime in terms of county lines, etc., which is always a worrying trend. But I didn't see anything, I say maybe there, but maybe I missed it, about drug possession. And I was wondering if when somebody is arrested for drug driving, does that follow on for drug possession as well? How does that all work linked together?
Certainly, when they're stopped for the drug driving offence, they'll be subject to a Section 23 search. So sufficient grounds there to subject them and their vehicle and occupants to a drug search. Yeah, you're right. 9 times out of 10, that will be a positive search in those circumstances. I would suggest that's just me plucking a figure out the air. I don't have statistics to hand for it, but very much a positive search follows that. But from my experience replacing it, it's not dealer quantities you're talking about there. It's small personal amounts that they've got in their possession.
Okay, thank you for that, Chris. Okay, I'll up to the members. Councillor McGilvery.
Yeah, Justice, it's a very full report, and most of my questions were answered on the way along. But just picking up on your theme of drugs, I've attended a couple of meetings the last couple of years with an officer based in Wick who told us all about county lines and cuckoos. Is that officer still in place?
Which officer was it you were speaking to?
I can't remember the name offhand, but it was 2 excellent meetings that provided a full breakdown on the whole county line scenario. And I just wondered if you did have that dedicated officer based in Caithness.
It's likely to be PC Scott McCall, was it?
That's the one.
Yes, yeah. So we still do have a prevention intervention officer based in Caithness. He covers the whole of the North Island, basically covers the whole of the area command that I cover. And he carries out all these types of inputs that you're talking about, and he continues to do so, yeah.
That's good to know. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Councillor Nevin.
As a new councillor, I was just wondering, is there any possibility that we could get, or me, I don't know enough about it, so could we get some more information about the county lines and what have you? I don't really understand it. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem at all. It's not straightforward, and people are using terms like cuckooing and all this sort of stuff, and it does become complicated. There is a wee bit of narrative in the report there, but no, absolutely, I'll get some more information for you and pass it on to you.
That would be brilliant. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm not seeing any other hands up. So thank you once again, gentlemen, for the report. Greatly appreciated, and we'll look forward to you coming back at the future meetings. So thanks. You're more than welcome to stay with us, but I suspect that you've probably got other things to be doing.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
Thanks very
thank
much,
you.
and congratulations all on your new posts.
Yes, all right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, members. I'll get back to my agenda here. Next is item 7 on the report. Our paper, should I say, is the community asset transfer for Migdale playing field, and our ward manager Phil Tomlin is going to present that to us. Over to you, Phil.
Okay, thank you. I'll just briefly take you through the report. It outlines a community asset transfer request for Migdale playing fields from Bonar Bridge Football Club. The playing field is 2.1 hectares, and it was purchased by Sutherland County Council in 1963 as a school playing field. Over the years, it has become the village's recreation ground and is also the home of Bonar Bridge Football Club. It's currently maintained by amenities, but that is really, we're talking about grass cutting. The field needs new drainage to make the surface playable year round. And Education Estates, which is the owning service within the council, has confirmed they have no plans or resources to do this for the foreseeable future. Bonar Bridge Football Club have approached the council, would like to fundraise to improve the drainage and make other improvements to the field, but any funder will require that they either own or have a long lease over the field. The report includes a cap assessment measured against the different criteria, and you'll see that it's mostly strong. There are two issues that we needed to consider when officers looked at this assessment. The first was continued school and community access. So these are essential because this is a ground used by both the community and the school. However, the council cannot dispose, that means sell or lease ground and then expect to be able to continue to use it. But as I've said, Bonar Bridge Football Club, they need the tenure so they can do the fundraising. So it seems the only solution is for us to offer a lease for the minimum amount required by the funders, and on condition that the football club provide a written undertaking to both the school and the community to allow continued access. So that'll be via the community council. This agreement is unenforceable, but we think that in a small community where there's so much overlap between the football club, the school, parents, community council, community, that actually their words should be good enough. This is the only solution that will enable the improvements to the pitch to go ahead, but still maintain some access. The second part of the second consideration was whether the disposal should be by sale or by lease, and the proposal is to lease. And the lease is favoured because it would mean that the council would retain a long-term option to use the field. So, for example, if at some point in the future there was a need to replace the school or extend the school, then that option would be on the table. There's no plans to do that for the immediate future, but if we were to sell the ground, we would never have that option. Secondly, if we lease, that offers some backstop to the word that we are expecting everybody to adhere to, so that if over the years access is not guaranteed or is not continued to the community, after 25 years we would have the option to take that ground back, and we believe that is a fairly strong deterrent in the background. I should say that the Bonar Bridge Football Club has totally agreed that they will continue that access, and there's no question at the moment that they would not do so. If Bonar Bridge Football Club fails, which it did do in the mid-teens as outlined in the report, 2010 I think it was, then the land would return to Highland Council. If we sold it, then it would get sold on, and again it would be lost. And finally, there was a preemption clause, and this would not be triggered under a lease. The preemption clause is whereby the previous owner has first refusal if we sell it. So the recommendation is outlined in the report, members. It's a 25-year lease at £1 per year, plus the conditions outlined in the report. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Phil. Open up to members. Any questions regarding this community asset transfer? No. Okay. Okay, members, we are.
If I can just come in and say, Chair, sorry, my hand was not working there. There were reactions that get stuck in the way, so I don't know why they should be. No, just say I very much welcome this. It's well done to Ward 1 councillors for putting this through. It's something I've been involved in off and on for a couple of years, back a few years ago. I never really got anywhere. I think it's a very satisfactory solution all around. And as I said, I very much welcome it.
Thanks for that, Councillor McGilvery. Yes, I would agree with that. It's good to see local communities taking ownership of or taking over an asset transfer and actually working on behalf of their own areas, which is great. So I have absolutely no issues with this. And so, members, we are being asked to agree the community asset transfer and lease at Migdale Playing Field, Bonar Bridge to Bonar Bridge Football Club for 25 years at a nominal rent. Are we happy to agree that?
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed.
Thank you very much. Okay, right, moving on. We have next item on the agenda is the winter service plan, and we have Joanne Sutherland here to present the plan for us. Joanne, welcome.
Yeah, morning everyone. Still morning, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I've just brought before you the winter service plan for Sutherland for this year. And members are just asked to approve it. For the new members, it sets out our proposal for this winter on how to treat the roads, the order we'll treat them in, the timings that we adhere to for the Greater Council winter policy. And it just provides you with that level of information of what goes on in the background that enables us to make the decisions on how we treat the roads and when we treat the roads. At the bottom of it, there's the maps that will lay out the road hierarchy in terms of the winter treatment. And it's just, it's dealt with by all our gritters spread out around the 10 depots within the county, 23 gritters turn out on that one. The one item I would or section of the report I would identify for you is footpaths are on there for being treated, but it is as resources permit. We are obligated to treat the roads, but the footpaths are, if we can't get to them, we can't get to them if we don't have the resource. That said, we generally do prioritise and treat them as much as we can, but it was highlighted when we're short of drivers or short of men. The priority is to go into the gritters, and the footpaths will get treated maybe later. So that was the only real issue I really needed to point out. Members be aware it is in the report, and it was just asked members to have an overview. And it really is no change on previous years. This is what we've been doing since 2018 when the council policy was put forward. So it's in a way it's business as usual. There's no change, no reduction, no improvement. It's what we've been doing for the last sort of 5 years.
Thanks for that, Josie. Just a quick question about pavements then. There was some confusion over the last couple of years about who is responsible for clearing the pavements along the A9 for the Mickalton Main Street, Brora and Helmsdale in particular. Can you just clarify exactly whose responsibility that is, please?
That falls to Bear under their contract for the trunk roads. Now, I believe this year that it's, I think the contract changes tomorrow and they're on a new generation, and I believe there have been some adjustments made. I don't know how it was managed before, but hopefully we'll see some changes there, but it is Bear for those villages on the A9 in Sutherland.
That's fine, thanks. And from a Highland Council perspective, the other payments, do we still have the small tractor for clearing paths? And is that shared across the area, is it?
We have a number of tractors dotted around the different depots. We've a couple on the north coast. We've got one on the west. We've got some in Lair, Gargai, a couple in Brora, Dornach. So we have more than one, and we deploy them. We've taken an assessment on where they're best suited, because some footpaths are too narrow for them, but we still have them. But we also have hand push carts as well for some of the the guys as well, so they're not just throwing it out the back of a pickup.
Okay, thanks for that. Councillor McGilvery.
Good to know, no reduction but no improvement, and again, no wind. There's always something will come out of there and bite us at some point. There'll be somebody unhappy about something, without a doubt. Again, I noticed something about an 8:30 a.m. start to gritting. Will there be an evening pre-grit to actually make that more sustainable, perhaps?
All our gritting starts at 6 o'clock in the morning. The primary routes are to be treated by 8:30 a.m. So generally the main roads are treated by 8:30. That's to tie in with schools and businesses and most people trying to get to work for 9 o'clock. So, and we still do a pre-grit that generally starts at 5 o'clock in the evening and we finish by 9 p.m. So our treatment of service is from 6 in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. We don't do a 24-hour service. We don't do an overnight service at all. We don't do overnight patrols. Generally, our men start on the road at 6 and they're finished by 9. Occasionally, weather permitting, it runs on a bit, but ideally that's when they're all finished. I would, just when you were speaking there, Councillor McGilvray, touch on the public expectation at grit bins, and there is also the winter resilience package that is every year, is where communities can put in a request, supported generally, but I believe by the community councils, where they can apply for us to provide them with equipment to treat footpaths in and around their own areas, and provide a grit bin. And that grit bins we will endeavour to fill up before the start of the season, but sometimes this will run on and we'll still be filling most of them up. But we generally are aware of every single one and where the most used ones are needed to be filled. And sometimes in periods of extreme weather, we don't get to fill them up again because we're trying to clear the roads. So there is a balance there to be struck, but I would highlight that in the report there is a link to the winter resilience application form and the website that the council have. It's not something that's been generally taken up a lot, but it is there for everybody to do. And it's named people that the community support, and then they are coordinated and we provide them with the high vis and shovels, etc.
Yeah, can I commend the service for the response to any of my requests for additional grit bins and additional support in that respect. Anything I ask for is usually delivered as soon as possible, so I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. Members, any other questions? No. One for myself then, Josie. The staff establishment on your report, you've got it spread out across the area, which is interesting. In terms of resource, are you fully staffed at the moment, or are there vacancies still to be filled?
No, we're not fully resourced. There are vacancies to be filled. There's quite a number of them, and I'm hoping in the next week or two to run a campaign. I'm working with our corporate comms team and our talent team to do a full recruitment work. There are quite a number of vacancies throughout. And we're looking for full-time staff, permanent full-time staff, as well as seasonals or almost what you would term as a casual, somebody that if they can help us out driving. It becomes more imperative that they're drivers in the winter time, as you can appreciate, for gritters. So I will be there will be adverts in the press and there will be some campaign going on to try and do this recruitment, and I will share it with you when it comes out. It's just pulling all the stuff together in the background. But yeah, we are currently understaffed for winter, which is going to be a challenge, but hopefully we've still got some time between now and when winter officially starts in October to recruit.
I mean, it's good to hear that there are employment opportunities available, especially permanent opportunities for across Sutherland, which is really good. So fingers crossed that you'll be able to get the suitable candidates as soon as possible.
I will say it is underrepresented by females. All our roads operative posts. I'd welcome any applications from females. That's
good to know in terms of getting the gender balance right. So I'll support you with that. Okay, well, there's no other questions for you, Josie. So thank you very much indeed, and thank you very much for the work that you and your team put in keeping the roads safe over the winter. I know it's a challenge, and that you are really at the mercy of the elements So your efforts are greatly appreciated. Thank you very much indeed. As I said to our police colleagues, you're welcome to stay with us for the rest of the meeting, but I suspect you've got other things to be doing. So thank you very much indeed for your time.
Right. I just assume that you're approving the report.
Well, yes, hang on a second. I'll go back to the correct wording to make sure we do it right. Hang on 2 seconds. Yes, members, as Josie has correctly pointed out, we are asked to approve the winter service plan for 22-23, and also to note that the COVID-19 and drivers' hours regulations will potentially have an impact on the winter service provided. Are we approving this plan and noting that?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, members, thank you. I'm seeing lots of nodding heads. Great, thank you. Okay, Josie, thanks very much for your time. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Now, okay, members, we are now on to item 9 on the agenda, which is the Dornoch Common Good Quarterly Monitoring Report. And it's over to Phil for that report. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you. Before I start, maybe I could just clarify which parts of the report Councillor McGilvray would like to sit through, and which, so I can work out what order to do things in.
I think I'd like to extract myself from any reference to the Dornoch Area Community Interest Company bid for funding for the Business Improvement District project. I think that's section 7.
Section 5.
Section 5. Okay.
Recommendation 5.
Yeah, section 7 in your papers.
Yeah.
Can I suggest then that we cover that first, and Councillor McGilvray can leave the meeting, and then we can get back in for the rest of the report. Would that be okay?
Or would you care to do the delegation first? So that is a fait accompli before we go into the Dacic, to give it its mid-European pronunciation, application.
I'm happy with that. Yes, happy with that. So if you want to do that first, then we'll go on to the.
That's fine. So shall I do recommendations 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, and then pause and allow you to leave the meeting, and then do the Dacic one?
That would be fine with me, Phil.
Is that what you want, Richard, or do you want me to do it in the order that they appear?
No, that's fine, Phil. Carry on with that.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you, members. So the first part of the report is the routine Q1 monitoring report, and it shows the details of income and expenditure for the year to date on Dornoch Common Good Fund. Section 5, current common good issues. That updates members on the consultation regarding sale of common good ground in the garden 8 Wells Street. The consultation is now completed. It finished on the 28th of July, and the outcome of that will be reported to committee on the 31st of October. The next section is approvals for common good expenditure. There's a need to formalise the current approval process for Dornoch Common Good Fund expenditure up to £10,000. All funding decisions under the scheme of delegation, all funding decisions should be made at area committee unless otherwise agreed by committee. And that actually doesn't reflect current practice. So the recommendation when we come to it is that decisions on expenditure up to 10k are delegated to the ward manager in consultation with relevant ward members. And also that Community Council, Dornoch Community Council is invited to comment on any grant applications. The second part of this is that you'll see also that the under section 4.3 expenditure, there are 3 grants that have already been made to date. So members are also asked to homologate those just to formalise the arrangements around those. So committees asked to homologate those funding decisions. Moving on then to Dornoch Area Community Council application for asset maintenance and improvement projects. This is section 8. Now, this is the latest in a series of programme small maintenance projects led by Dornoch Community Council. This particular version includes beach awards, Queen Screen canopy, rose bushes, and some car parking signs. And the application is for 1,835.60, and members would be recommended to approve that. So, Richard, do you want me to pause there and then you can ask for questions and do the recommendations, then I can move on to the item regarding the Dornoch bid application from Datchik?
That's fine, Phil. Thank you for that. Members, do you have any questions for Phil on these particular parts of the report?
Just to say, Chair, I'm content with the recommendations so far and welcome the rationalisation of procedure for grants under £10,000.
Okay, right, we'll just look at that. Let's just look at it from a formal perspective and make sure that we approve these particular recommendations at this particular point. So just to clarify, we're looking at we're noting the position of the Dornoch Common Good Fund at the end of the first quarter. Note the update on the current Dornoch Common Good issues. Agree to delegate to the ward manager power to approve expenditure up to £10,000 in relation to Dornoch Common Good within the annually set budget and following consultation with relevant ward members. And this delegated power will be renewed annually. Agreed to homologate community grants totaling £9,921.76. I think that's the oh, and the other one, the approve a grant of £1,835.60 to Dornoch Area Community Council. Are we happy to accept that? Agree that?
Agreed, Chair. Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Right.
Will somebody email me and let me know when to come back in, please?
Fiona, can you do that, please?
Yes, I can do that, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
See you soon.
Okay, okay, Phil, over to you.
Okay, thank you. This next application then is from Datchik, Dornoch Area Community Interest Company, and it's for the Dornoch Business Improvement District. So Datchik plans to establish a business improvement district in Dornoch to raise funds from a local business levy for projects to improve the town, which will be outlined in a 5-year business plan. The application is for £9,999 towards the cost of employing a bid development officer to consult businesses in Dornoch, develop the 5-year business plan and organise a ballot of businesses over whether the bid should go ahead. And the budget is outlined in the report there in section 7. Under the same section, you can see the funding that has been already secured. So that's 20,000 match funding has been secured from the Scottish Government via the Scotland Towns Partnership. There's £9,999 in this bid, and the balance then is being sought from HIE and from Highland Council from the Infrastructure, Economy and Environment Service, and indications today are positive. Just covering the bit in section 7.4, Dornoch Community Council discussed the application at their meeting on the 20th of July. All 6 community councillors present at the meeting supported the bid. However, the Community Council only received the application on the day of the meeting. And subsequently, the Community Council has asked for another opportunity to discuss the application following the objection of one of the community councillors who was absent at the 20th of July meeting. As noted in the report, while the Community Council frustration at the short notice is shared and recognised, the majority, that is 6, community councillors have already expressed their support for the project. On that grounds then, members are recommended to approve the grant of £9,999.
Thank you for that, Phil. From my perspective, I think we always give the Community Council the option to review these proposals and to comment as they do. And it is disappointing that it was a short time scale. But I think if we were going to delay this for them to meet again, then we wouldn't be discussing this again until the end of October, and that would put a real barrier in the way for the bid process. So, from my perspective, I'm happy that the majority of the community councillors voted in favour of this, and I'm happy to make a decision on this today. Now, does anybody have any questions or any concerns? No, I'm shaking heads, that's good. Right, in that case, members, we are being asked to approve a grant of £9,999 to Dornoch Area Community Interest Company for the Dornoch bid project, subject to match funding being in place. Are we happy to agree this?
Yeah.
Yes, I don't see any objections. Okay, so that is agreed. Thank you for that. Okay, I think we can bring Councillor McGilvray back in again, Fiona.
I've just emailed him just that second, so he should be appearing any minute, hopefully.
That's great. Thanks very much indeed.
I think that's him back again. Yes.
Welcome back, Jim.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, members, moving on. Phil, I think that's the full report for the common good. Yes.
Yeah, we've completed that item.
That's fine. Thank you. And that brings us to the end of the meeting, members. But we have only thing left is item number 11, which is the minutes from the meeting of 28th of February 2022. Are we happy to accept these minutes? Or any questions on them at all? Yeah. Okay. I think members, that's complete. Oh, Phil, you got your hand up.
There's also item 10, ward budget grants, which is a committee's asked to know. It's a agenda note.
Sorry, I missed that one. Oh, it's in the agenda. Sorry, yes, but yeah. For 2 seconds. Yes, members, the ward budget grants, item 10. I think I'm not planning asking Phil to speak on this. I think it's all fairly straightforward and self-explanatory. Does anybody have any questions or concerns? No. In that case, so I'm jumping around screens here. It's never easy. Yeah, so we're just asked to note that these awards have been made, and I think we're happy to do that.
Noted, Chair.
Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed, members. Okay. As I say, the only other thing remaining is the minutes of the last meeting, and I don't see any questions or any concerns about that. Are we happy to accept them? Okay, well, that brings the meeting to a close. Thank you very much. Well, can I just before we do close, what I'd like to say is we do seem to have problems with our IT, and it does raise issues. And it's what I'd like to propose is that we go back to a meeting on a hybrid basis. Obviously, I recognise that Councillor Hutchinson, for example, has got a long way to travel to get here. But if we're possible, if members can meet in the chamber, I think that would be a more satisfactory way to do things. Does anybody have any comments or any thoughts on that?
I would agree with that, Chair. It's easy for me to say I've only got a few miles to come, but I certainly appreciate the kind of the contact. But with the option for video conferencing or Teams for those who find it more difficult to travel.
Yes, I think so. I'm happy with that. It's just to say if we can try to get back to some kind of normality, but on a hybrid basis, that would be my preference. And that wasn't an agenda item. I'm just throwing that in at the end of the meeting. But I'd like it to be recorded as our preference, if everybody's happy with that.
Yeah, happy with that. Sorry, I thought today's was just to be by Teams, or I would have come in. So
no, I mean it was actually, Councillor Nevin, it was actually listed as a virtual meeting. So you're quite right. There's no issues, and I'm not saying that, but from my perspective, I think it's a good thing to meet face to face if we possibly can, and but recognising that there's need for hybrid options as well. Okay, we'll agree with that. Okay, members, thank you very much indeed. That's our first Sutherland County Area Committee completed, and we've got many more to look forward to.
Thank you.